We're nothing. We're not friends. We're not anything. Like, I literally haven't spoken to this person. I don't know who this man on the screen is.
Wow. You know when somebody's had enough of the person that they've been with, that when it comes to explaining their current relationship status, they can't even keep it simple. They can't even be like, well, it just didn't work out, so we decided to go separate ways. Instead of keeping it civil, respectful, and just like it is what it is, you have to go into pure freaking like, I don't want to call it rage. Rage is a bit too much of a strong word, but you end up going into a mode where just like, listen, I freaking hate that man. Literally, that's the energy that I was getting from her, because you know how she's so explosive on social media, and even can be quite explosive on the show too. But you know how she's always like, freaking man, freaking this, freaking. Yeah. Anyway. Given the fact that this is how she decided to handle the question, it explains why they're no longer together. Whether or not it's her fault or his fault, damn. I know I would have felt like I dodged a bullet if that's how she answered that question.
And he's laughing like the piece of that he is.
100%.
Definitely not a good look for you, man.
Why did you call him that?
Because he is. He's a piece of You know what you're doing. You're a piece of You're lucky what you're doing.
You see, the thing that I really don't understand about Sean's involvement here is I just don't get it. Like, what did he do to you for you to talk to him like that? You know, listen, first and foremost, he's already been asked a simple question by Sean Robinson, right? And the answer that obviously, you know, what's the name, Corona gives is a very unnecessary answer. But then on top of that, you're also coming at him as well. You know when things just feel like somewhat of an ambush? I could not imagine how uncomfortable Iggy even felt in this situation. Whether he's in the wrong or he's in the right, the relationship's over anyway. Sean's talking as if like him and Corona are still together, and as if he's still leading it on. But hello, the relationship is done. So what's with the energy? Some people just like to play out for cameras, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's something that we don't know.
You're a scumbag. You're a scumbag. He made this woman think he was in love with her.
It was just.
That was never a joke. That was never a joke.
Did you even?
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, when it comes to this whole question of did he make this woman think that he was in love with her, I'm going to say that can be that would have been rather subjective, to be honest with you. But here's the thing, though. Throughout the season, we saw his energy levels being a bit flat at a lot of times. And that was due to his cool, calm demeanor, right? And we saw him downplay a few things or serious conversations, because he'd always say, oh, this is just a joke. And he would never take things too seriously, right? And that's something that, of course, that he did. Now, somebody that is going to try and convince someone that, hey, I love you, but they really don't, they're going to put in way much more effort out there to convince that person. It felt as if, like, if anything, he was just relaxed to see where the relationship would go, while Corona had her own expectations of the relationship. And at the end of the day, just because he did not, I'm not going to say he didn't meet those expectations, but just because he didn't behave the way she wanted him to behave, I don't know how that says that he was then trying to lead her on personally. So again, I don't know what Sean was watching, what he knows that we don't know. But for me personally, his whole reaction, it doesn't make any sense. But we continue.
Show up if you're just gonna be here lying with that smug smile on your face.
Like when I went to the States to change, just by arriving at the airport, like this completely other person, just.
I am still wondering what he means by when I arrived to the States, it was like a completely other person. I am still wondering about that. The only thing that I could think about at the moment was that he went to the States and he met a whole different type of Corona that he had met this whole time in Iceland. You know, because I think from what I understand, based on the show, he had not been to the States yet, and it was her that had been to Ireland, obviously first time when they met, and then again the second time when she went there for the show. Now, listen, some people do switch up when they are on their own surf, or when they are on their own land, you know, their own country, and that is a possibility. But I'm curious. The switch up that she could have done, in my opinion, would have probably been trying to really push him even more to want to be with her in a way, maybe in a more marriageable way or whatever. I could just imagine her being way much more hands-on with the direction where she wants her expectations to go, because she's now in her own land. But I would have expected her to behave in a way where she's like, oh, I don't really want to know him anymore. You know, he's not for me, blah, blah, blah. Which easily could have still been a possibility. But based on the show energy, the only switch up would have been her being a bit more intense on what she wants. And if he sees that as a switch up, well then, I guess it's a switch up. But we are dealing with two people who are completely different, and two people who read the room completely different as well, which is clearly a problem for these two. Polar opposites.
Loving, fun, caring person that I fell in love with. I've wrapped my mind around that many times, and nothing.
I am wondering, I am curious. He says this fun-loving person that I was with. Listen, I'm not going to say that Corona was never loving. No, I'm going to say she was never fun. All I'm going to say is maybe I saw the fun side, but the caring side, I didn't see it on the show. All I saw was somebody just with a complaint after complaint after complaint. Never did I really see her be expressive about what he's saying in terms of caring.
It's couple therapy. She said that I was the only one that needed therapy or couple therapy. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really buy that he was the one that suggested couples therapy. It doesn't seem like something that he would do personally. I do believe Kron in this situation that she would have been the one that would have suggested it over him. To be honest with you, I just don't see it. And obviously, yeah, I mean, anyone who's actually from Iceland maybe can correct me on this, but I don't know if people in Iceland really care for therapy, because when you go there, it's such a happy location, I'm not saying people don't have problems, I'm not saying people don't have issues, but most of the time people there are quite grounded. So all I'm saying is, if I was to compare America to Iceland, people in America we know go through couples therapy as well as therapy in general, okay, even in the UK, right? But America more than any other country that I know of. So if anyone was going to mention the idea of a couples therapy, it would 100% be Corona, not Iggy. So to be honest, the fact that he, in my opinion, lies there makes you wonder what else was he lying about in this whole statement. But we continue.
I just left then, and left for good. And people don't realize how difficult it is to end seeing a future with someone and having it taken away from you.
Yeah, I'm not really inclined to want to believe him again, because it was Corona who kept talking about the future all the time, and you was clearly saying, listen, the future will come. I would just see where things go. You're the ones that had no expectations of anything. Future has always been from her mouth. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. On the last episode, he did say that, yeah, I do see a future with you. I do see it going somewhere. But the conversation and what he said, the response, it was put out there by her. She's the one that initiated that conversation. So really and truly, him saying that, if he's saying it, I feel like he's saying it because he's trying to use what she wanted against her in this situation where he's trying to look like the good cop and she's obviously the bad cop. I don't know, but all I'm saying is that there's things he's saying that just don't feel as if they are within his character.
I went to the States, friends that I was moving to the States, but after my second trip to the States, I just left, and yeah, I had to do.
I just left and did what I had to do. Interesting.
Do in my life, and like that, I'm out of here.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Corona has been quite disrespectful here and there throughout the season, and I would say that he hasn't really disrespected her that much. He's had his moments, but what he does here, I gotta say, is a massive disrespect. So he has this whole speech lined up, says it, and then once he says it, I'm out. Talk about children in the room. But then again, though, it takes a child to date a child, which does make sense because Corona's a child. So only a child would date a child, right? Otherwise, it's something wrong, right? So therefore, his actions of a child make sense now. Two children in a relationship acting petty.
Bitch, that's some weak.
What the That was a bitch move.
Well, he definitely has not made things look good for him on his side, at least. Anyway, he's definitely made things look a bit shitty. Well, I guess we have to wait and find out. Obviously, see how that develops in next week's episode of 90 Day Fiancé, the other way tale part 2. But with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video, and also try and make next week's live as well when we do the live stream for the recap for part 2 of the 90 Day tell all. Yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.